Okay, here we are to fix the cracked window that I've got here in my 2015 WK2 Summit. As you can see here, I've got a crack right down there. I've actually got a little chip mark on the outside from when I did the whipper snipping. So what we're going to do is get that glass out and get it replaced. So first of all, we're going to start by clearing out the screw hole down in here. So you're going to flat blade for that. Okay, it looks like we've got a 7 or 8 mil down there. Let's check it out. Okay, we've got a 7 mil. Should loosen up a bit, probably do the rest by hand. Okay. Alright, fish that out of there. And then we've got to go around the outsides with our tool to remove the trim parts. So let's get that tool ready to go. Right, so this is the tool I'm going to use. You can see it's tapered here. And what we're going to do is get it up into the gap here. You've got to try and do this with one hand. And find our little spot. Okay, so up in there, you can see that there's a black rubber grommet on the car side. And then there's the white part that goes into that on the trim side. So by having this tapered edge, I'm staying away from that black rubber, hopefully not wrecking it, putting it over it and twisting it. Okay, and do that all the way around. Alright, so I'll come back and I'll show you them all in a second. Okay, after going around probably to about halfway around to here, I was able to get my fingers in there and give it a good pull, and that's released the whole door card all the way around. So now we just need to unloosen the door handle. All right, coming up to the door handle, if we just reach in here, you can see there's a little bit of a trim piece that we have to, how am I going to do this? All right, you're going to open this up. Oh boy, try and do this one-handed. Open that up like that. Get your screwdriver in behind there like that. Pop that off. All right, and then we got to undo that Phillips head. So let's get that away. And get that off. Okay, great. So take that out. And now we should be able to lift this door card up and over there and out through over there. I'm going to put you down for a second while I just do that. Right, after getting it up over the door lock and mainly just opening that door handle all the way up and letting it slide off, I was able to unclip the top part of the card. And you can see now we've got a substantial number of wires in here we need to disconnect. So the first one is to the door controls. So that's that one. Then we have the tweeter. We've got the 19 speaker Harman Kardon in this one, so it's got a few extra cables. And then the top one up here for, don't know what that one is. Probably just some lights or something. What does that go to? Goes to here, goes around. Oh, that's just the main control that comes down to the lights and stuff down the bottom, and for your hand grab. Now you can see a couple of these had come off. They'd stayed in the door, and you can possibly just use your bigger tool to where is it? Get those out. Okay, there we go. And yeah, so you can see here up the top we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 other points that have been pushed in as well. So if we look here on the door, we've got the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then down the side we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those, and 2 locating lugs on either side. And you can see that they come into here and here. Right, okay, next step, let's get the speaker out and open that inspection panel. So we'll just grab the tools for that. All right, back we've got the T20 torque head bit. We've got 4 screws to undo on these. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we just carefully pry this speaker away. Sorry about the dodgy camera work. What do you expect one-handed? Alright, and lastly, open up this panel here. Okay, so now what you need to do now is to drop the window. And there's a couple of ways of doing it. One is the, I guess the easy way, which is powering this back up. But I'm going to use the that was a T20. I'm going to use a T25 and actually take this motor off. And the only reason I'm going to do that is because if you power it back up with some of these other sensors not on, you run the risk of putting in clearing codes, have to clear codes. Not everyone has the OBD scanners to clear codes. It may just be easier to do it this way. So once you've taken that off, that motor just comes out of there. Okay, so here on the motor you can see you've got a drive, and then that's the actual drive mechanism that makes the window go up and down. So now you've got that off, you'll find that the window will just slide down. Okay, so I've just opened it up a bit, and now bringing it down manually. Alright, so here it is coming down. And what we're looking for is this white brackety thing here. Sorry, white brackety thing. And we've got to get that into that hole here. So just about there. That's what we're looking for. So in here, let me try to zoom in on it. If you can see that hole there, we're going to push this tab back. And at the same time as pushing that back, we actually, sorry about that, I hit stop. By the same time as you're pushing that tab in, you actually have to be lifting up on this. So you're lifting that up while pushing that tab into the door. All right, so let's just, I'll give that a try. I need 2 hands for this, so I'm going to put you down. I'll come back in a second. All right, so now I've got that side done. You can see here that I can lift that up and down freely. And then you need to do the same one for in that hole there. So if I can see, you push on that tab like that. There it is there. Pushing that in and lifting up forward. All right, and do that now. Okay, now I've got those undone. Probably should have done this part up here first, but you need to remove this inner weather stripping, and that's just a matter of pulling that up. So you can see here, just pull it up all the way along. Okay, and that then slides out of there. Okay, and that cleans that out. All right, so that's now gone, and now we're just going to finish doing those 2 points down the bottom. So here and here. Right, so now I've got that both released on either side. You just have to basically grab this piece of glass with both hands, so I'm going to have to stop the video, and you're going to pull it up, and I find I said it's actually easy to go to the outside of this piece here. You're just going to basically pull it straight up out here by twisting it forward. So here I am rotating it forward like that, and then pulling it out. Okay, so I need to stop the video to use both hands. Thank you. Right, so here is the broken glass. Now, you might wonder how we can get away with having a crack that clearly goes from one corner right up to the top, yet the glass is still going, you know, still in one piece. And effectively is because it's a 2 pieces of glass with the laminate in between it. So a bit hard to see there, but there's actually 2 layers of glass there, and it's only the outside that's cracked. So while it's not a shatterproof safety glass, I don't know what they call this, but it's a laminated glass, so therefore I guess it doesn't have to go to the shatter like the normal ones do. But anyway, that one's out. Let's grab the other one. Right, here we have the donor glass that I happen to have. It's probably only a 30 grade tint on this one. I think the other one may have been a 15 or so, so it's definitely not as dark. But I was finding at night time, particularly to turning right here, it was pretty much too dark, and I always had to have my window down to turn right safely into an intersection. So this might actually help with that. But to put it back in, we're going to basically put that in the same way as we pulled it out, which is on the outside of the door here. We're going to feed it down in through the gap here on an angle. So there's the window. We're going to tip it down like that and feed it down. Let's try that now. Right, so here you go. I've got the glass back in the channel, so hard on the right-hand side over here and tight obviously in the left-hand side. And I'm going to start just lowering it down slightly. And you can see here we're going to get it down into these carriers at some point. So it's getting closer to that carrier. Oops, just pushing that one down. And we're getting closer to this one on this side too. But there we go, I think that just clicked into that one. And I'll put my hand in down in here and click it into that one. So I think that's now in. So if I lift that glass back up, let's see if I can lift that glass back up now. Okay, let's try it. Okay, so I just had to lift it back up again. So what was the issue with that one was this track here. It's quite a deep track this way, then shallow across in the channel, and then it comes back slightly. And it had sort of popped out, rotated around a bit. So I basically just run my hand all the way up. That's the channel at the top. But I had to run my hand from there all the way down and just get that pushed back into its C-section. And the glass sort of sits in between this face and this back face here. So it has to sit in here, and it was sort of sitting over here somewhere. So I just got to make sure I get it hard up against this front face, which will then push it between the two. Okay, and then put compression on that back as well as the front. So let's just do that one now. All right, so here we are lowering the glass down. I've put the motor back on because what I found was with the motor off, that carrier that I'm about to click into in a second was actually dropping down to the bottom of the window, and that's what caused my rubber in the side here to pop out. So you can see here that's just clicked into place by pushing it down slightly, and this side as well. And so now I'm in place. Now the window was all the way up when I started, so I'm going to take the motor back off and now raise the window up. So let's pull it up. Okay, so I'm pulling it up there like that. Okay, and let's go. 2 hands, one on either side, and push that up. And that's basically it. So now that glass is now installed. You can see it's all in good. We need to put this motor back on. So I'm about to do that with my 3 T25 heads. The speaker goes back in with 4 T20s, a couple of wires. So there's a wire comes on the back of the speaker, and then we can shut this flap up, and we'll put the trim back on. So I'll be back in a second after I've done that. Okay, just notice with putting this back on, as much as I had pushed that window all the way up by hand, it just needed just that little bit more of a tweak. So I put one hand in this side, one hand in this side, and just gave it that last little nudge to get it right up and home. It may have been right, but then while talking it slumped down a little bit. But I knew it wasn't quite right because that wouldn't engage correctly with the gear. The gear was probably like half a tooth out. So by just pushing it up slightly a bit more, that engaged perfectly. So we're just going to zip this up now. Okay, and we got the bottom one here. Okay, and let's do the speaker. Okay, here we have our front Hummer Carman 6x9s. Plug the wire back in there. And now I'm going to plug that back onto the door. There you go. Somehow sit it on there. That's it. And then we're going to put in a screw to stop falling out. This is next to impossible to do with one hand. Anyway, and then that's our T20s. Okay, and we've got just the wire, just make sure you put the wire back in the little crease hole here at the side here. That's it. All right, so I'm going to do up the 2, 3 and 4 screws, and we'll come back after I've nipped those up. But just remember to keep that wire in the groove. Right, okay, so speaker back in and cover plate back on. Need to put this top trim back on. So let's see, looking at that, there is nothing. So look in there. So no, look, there's nothing special about that. That just goes on there. So we should be able to feed that in underneath the trim at this end. Let's go in here. So I'll feed it in nice and tight down in there. And hopefully then it's going to reach down the other end. No, let's try the other end first then. Okay, there you go. So inside part first and then outside. So there you go, that's on. Now the door card. Now the door card was missing 2 of these that stayed in the door, so just put those back in their places. Okay. And lastly, plug in our cables. So we had the main door switch for the all the windows and stuff. We'll find it. It's at the front here. Here it is. Okay, that's back in there, and then this one up here in the front. It's just there for all the lights. And lastly, our little tweeter, or mid, or whatever it is. Where are we? There we go, there. Put that one on. Putting this card on, look, it's a little bit tricky. You've got to basically line up these 1, 2, 3, 4 top screw mount things, these things here. You've got to line them up with that. At the same time, you have to open this up and feed it back through its hole here, while also putting it down over there. So it's all about to happen. The other way you can do it to maybe help is if you take this screw out and then put the Phillips head back into this one, this whole mechanism can actually come off with the door card. So I might just do that. So I'll take that off and screw it back to the door card, and then put the this Phillips head screw back into this hole, and so we can take it on and off with this. And that way, I said, I'm not having to try to maneuver it around there at the same time as lifting it over that and getting it down through all those. So let me just do this and I'll come back. Rightio, so there's the door handle with the Phillips head back in there, unscrewed from the door itself there. So this might make it a bit easier. That bolt is, look, 10mm does it. It's obviously an Imperial, I don't know what's just below 10mm, but it's just a bit smaller than 10mm. But 10mm can do it if you're a little bit careful, or you put a piece of paper or something over it to give a bit more grip. But now I've got to, I said, yeah, put the door card up and over here and line up these top 4 holes. Let's give that a try. Okay, so this point here was just giving me a bit of grief, and I just realised that the inner part, rubbery part here, had actually come out from the hole. So I just have to actually put that one back in and separate this and put this back onto the door card. So I'll just do that now. Okay, so I've lifted it up and put it over the door locking mechanism at this side. And at this corner here, I've just put in this one up the top here, gave it a good solid whack on there to engage that one. And now if I look down along in here, okay, what I've got to do is basically line up each of those with their corresponding holes by sort of looking along there and lining them up, and then give them a good solid whack, 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 whack along there. So the main thing was just trying to get these top ones in. The rest will follow. We've got to get these top ones in. They're quite hard, but a little bit of perseverance and you should be okay. So let's give that a go now. Okay, all the top ones are in. Just sort of lifting it up and down, sort of as you sort of pushing it, like you're having this end out here and you're looking along. You just got to make sure this one's lined up with the hole. Give a bit of a push in there, and then line this one up and down to get it engaged, this one up and down to get it engaged, and then the last one you sort of just figure with your finger. And once they're all just started, then you can thump them on there. So now I've done that, I can just come down the sides and where am I going to do this one? And basically now I'm just looking to make sure that they are engaged before you go and wallop them good and proper. There's no point cracking them if they're not in the holes, because all you're going to do is break them. All right, so you basically see how that's in the black hole there, and that one's in the hole there, and that one is not quite in the hole there, but it is now. Okay, and I'm just going to do that all the way around to the door and bang it in. Talk to you again in a second. Okay, and we're back, and so we've just chucked in the 9.5mm bolt back in there, and we'll just put the little cover back over top of that, push that back into place. We've put our 7mm bolt back down to there, and then cover it back up. Okay, and that's basically it. So now he's got to test it. So let's get the car turned on, and let's try it. The keys inside the car. All right, there we go. And going down and up. I might need to clean that window, but there we go. One window replaced. Turn that off. The only casualty was one of those. As I said, if you don't quite line them up with the holes when you bang them in, you break them off. So anyway, 1 out of 19, it is what it is. But that's it. I hope this helps someone. It was certainly helpful to see someone else do it on YouTube, but they made a lot of mistakes. So I try to cut out all their mistakes and do it cleanly as possible. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. All the best with your window replacements. Okay, PS, if you're passive, I'm just doing this on the passenger side, but if the button's not working for whatever reason, just check this connector here. It's got the green and white wire coming in, and there's, anyway, this one here. It's halfway up on the side. Just check this one that's actually pushed in. Mine was just out a little bit, and my the passenger side one wasn't actually locking or releasing when you came up to the vehicle, and that was loose. So clicked it in, all good. All right, thanks for watching, bye.